welcome to Conversations from Jigsaw Change Consulting. My name's Anish Hindocha, and this is not so much a podcast, but more a conversation with people that I find interesting who do work which is not identical to what I do, but similar and overlapping fields. So I'm a lean consultant by background. I have a business offering around improving meetings within organizations. And I'm talking today with Pavel Golanistev, who's an organisational psychologist. And we're going to join this conversation right at the point where we discuss the business case for doing something like process improvement versus the business case for doing cultural improvement and how the two things compare. So we're going to join it just at the point where we start talking about that. Enjoy. But it's tangible is the point I'm making, right? I can go to the head of HR and say, to hire an employee currently in this company is taking you 63 days. We worked it out from the moment somebody applies on LinkedIn to the moment they actually got there, walk in the building, get their badge and their laptop. That's 63 working days. No arguments. That's across 200 different examples. And we've worked out where the delays are in the process, where it's being held up, where the bottleneck is, where the duplication's happening, where the hiring manager has been on holiday for 2 weeks and now there's been a delay and you've lost good candidates as a result. You can apply some science to this that allows people to go, yeah, I can see we keep talking inefficiency, but hallelujah, at last somebody's come along, they've measured it, they can work out where the deficiencies are and they have a plan to improve it. And that's great. Let's go ahead and plan this improvement project. So I think that's kind of straightforward. Where I have some hesitancy on the business case for culture is I will see things like the Gallup poll in 2017 says that an employee engagement survey shift of just 10% will result in 30% improvement in productivity, 28% improvement in revenue, and those sorts of things. And I'm like, that's a much harder business case to make. It sounds good, but I know I couldn't make that case. Gallup may be able to, but I question, how do you do that? Perhaps because I'm very rational and logical and I'm a scientist by background, so that's how I'm wired. But whilst I'm drawn to the benefits of having a more engaged workforce, I'm almost categorically not convinced by the case for linking that to better revenue. I mean, let me give you an example, right? So Satya Nadella at Microsoft, he's been credited with a massive turnaround in the Microsoft culture since Steve Ballmer, I think it was, before him. And he's really turned it around. And you look at Microsoft, it's back again as the world's biggest company by market capitalization. So it is the world's biggest company again. And a lot of that's credited with his leadership. And I don't dispute he's absolutely a great leader. In fact, the more I read about him, the more I'm inspired by what he's doing. But how much of that revenue is down to a better engaged workforce, and how much of it is down to Microsoft being very smart in 2017 and buying LinkedIn, recognizing the potential of that as a social media platform, as well as other acquisitions they've made. So it's like, how are these things correlated, right? Pavel, I mean, what's your view on that?
That's a very interesting question, Anish. I think what's important to remember in here is that with questions as elusive as engagement, culture, employee experience, it is sometimes difficult to talk about the numbers, right? There is a lot of talk about a cultural shift in some organizations, like Microsoft. That's great. We cannot really say reliably if that's because of this or because of that. Of course, a consultancy that's offering cultural change would say that most of it is because of culture, and a consultancy that works on successful mergers and acquisitions would be saying that it's about their strategy of buying and onboarding different businesses. Maybe there's that. But what we do know is that having that cultural change really improves company's reputation, right? Right now, we're talking about Microsoft as this company that went through a difficult patch, and now it's in a way reborn, it's revitalized. We have a, it's rebranded
Yeah.
itself. We have a different understanding of how it is as a company, and
Yeah.
it will be attracting more professionals who may choose to work for another tech giants, but they will choose to work for Microsoft,
Yeah.
or
So it
they may
starts to attract the best
be,
talent.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the reputation for the consumers as well. That's a big one, because we want to buy from a company that we know shares our values to an extent. Of course, it's not a factor for everyone and their buying decisions, but it's becoming increasingly important for more and more consumers worldwide.
Mm. Yeah, I like the idea of connecting it with you mentioned three things there in terms of the people that would be attracted to go and work for Microsoft versus other companies, probably more likely to in the last 5 years than perhaps before, maybe. Reputation for consumers. Well, there's a challenge, right? So if Amazon, who are all around convenience, right? Talking about getting drones and dropping off things at your doorstep and stuff. It's all around convenience. If they suddenly came out in the headlines as, employee quits because, bad, and there was a bit of marketing, someone had some axe to grind and they made up this story. Would people be less likely to use Amazon because of the perceived notion that their employee culture was less healthy than it was before?
Um,
Question.
yeah,
So I get it from a
yeah,
talent acquisition perspective. Totally sold on that. Reputation, yes, I get it as well. Glassdoor, even elsewhere, as top 100 companies to work for. I think it's helpful at the consumer level. Kind of challenge that.
hmm. Yes, I see where you're coming from. I think that there is definitely a question of convenience.
Mm.
Sort of, we like the service, the products that this company offers. Will we still keep buying from them? But the thing is that there may be a competitor who will not have the bad press that another company may have. And of course, with Amazon and the current domination it has in the
Mm.
in its market,
Yeah.
is a special case. But uh, I still think that reputation there is important, because sooner or later competitors will come for every market leader. It's a matter of time and life
It's a
cycle.
matter of time. Yeah, and I think there's
That's
something
where the
there.
competitive advantage be, reputation.
Yeah, like I give you another example. And is Uber. I would still get an Uber, and Uber haven't are not really the poster child of the best employee engagement culture. Certainly not in recent times. I think they're trying to turn it around a bit. But that's it's still convenient. I wouldn't have no hesitation if I needed to get from here to somewhere else. It's the first thing I do. It's convenient. I get an Uber and it turns up in 3 minutes. Happy days. But I think you're right. Over time, it's a combination of things, isn't it? Because if you have an unhealthy culture, if you flip this argument on its end and you go like, are the culture at retailer X is unhealthy. You don't start to attract the best talent. You can't get the ownership on jobs, on the value that people bring to their jobs. It definitely has. I can see the link there between that and churn. Sure. customer service, frontline service to customers, absolutely. And then eventually processes that uphold a company, and it starts to slowly fray away, and then ultimately the end quality does suffer. So if you got this far, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed talking to Pavel. He's a really interesting guy and a lot to say about company culture. I'll try and put another one on. We start talking around the relevance of employee engagement surveys. So maybe that will be the next one. Also touched upon agile versus waterfall in terms of change methodologies. So if you like this sort of stuff, let me know and stay tuned. I'll put another one up soon. Cheers.